Sure. Just finishing now. Hi, everyone. We're just going to wait a couple of minutes to see if anyone else joins, because I think we had a few more people signed up. If you want to put what school you're with in the chat, that'd be great. Thankfully. You just give it one more minute, Siobhan, and then we'll kick off. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, I think we'll get started, will we? And I can admit people as they come along as well. I suppose, first of all, welcome to this series of green skills that we're doing this week. And we're going to be focusing on reaching a wider audience. So really focusing on communications and how you can use that with your green skills campaign. My name is Orla and I am a travel officer in Galway. And I also work on the Anshi Cycles Ambassador Programme. And Siobhan, would you like to introduce yourself? Yeah, so hello everybody, I'm Siobhan and I'm working with the Global Citizenship team. So if you have any questions about your Global Citizenship teams, you can contact me. Yeah. Perfect. And throughout, if you have any questions, put them in the chat and we can get to them at the end. So today we are going to be covering a range of topics. Just to let you know as well, if the slides are not moving along with you, you may have to sync them. So there should be a big red button on the bottom of your screen to say sync. If that's not there, then you should see the slides as I'm moving them. But sorry, to go back, we're going to be covering a number of topics today. So we're going to be looking at how you can reach a wider audience with your Green Skills campaign, so outside of your school. We're going to be looking at responsible communication, how you can craft your message, what multimedia tools will be effective for your campaign, engaging your audience, call to action, and some other practical tips. And as I said, we can have some questions at the end as well. Okay, so I'm going to start with effective and responsible communication. So any type of communications or campaigns or advocacy plan, it's very important to for clarity and simplicity. So like it says here, clear and simple language, avoid jargon and explain complex ideas in straightforward terms. So I suppose sometimes we get really stuck in our echo chambers, and when you're working on a certain campaign or if you're really into something, you have all the terms and the jargon, but people that you're kind of trying to get the message out to might not understand or be as aware of those terms as you would be. So it's just super important to make sure that you do explain things kind of easily. And this can be done really nicely through graphics or infographics. And we'll talk about that more later. And I know the workshop yesterday, if you were there was a lot of, there's lots of people coming in there now. So yesterday there was a bit of work done around visual communication, and Orla will be looking at that again in a while. But it's a really nice way to kind of
explain these complex ideas in really simple terms for people to understand. Next slide, please. So I suppose, again, for effective and responsible communication, it's really important to know your audience and understanding your audience as well. You might have you definitely have different audiences depending on where you're communicating. So we're talking about the wider community now. So outside of your school, you'll have, local newspapers, church bulletins are great because they're free. And can you go to the next slide, actually, Orla? Thank you. So your peers in school would be, your notice board, social media. You know how to communicate with your peers, and they'll also be part of. I suppose they're already part of this campaign as well, and your Green Schools initiative. So that's kind of an easier audience to work with. Parents, then, it's kind of like bringing home your message to them. How do you do that? Do you do it through the school newsletter or school apps? Social media is great as well. We know parents love Facebook, so that's kind of they're like a key audience for Facebook, I suppose. And other things is like leading by example and bringing your campaign home. So, you might be part of a Grow It Yourself initiative in school. So like bring that home with you as well. And, it's all just about education. And that's, I suppose, what you're doing as communicators and campaigners. Like, it's all about educating people around you of how to get involved and take part, and I suppose inspire action through your communications as well. So with the wider community, like I was saying, I suppose local newspapers, social media as well. If you have a school social media, or if you have your own specific, I know some schools have their own Green Schools kind of initiatives on social media as well. And we'll be talking a bit more about how to engage them in a while, but it's really important to like do some research on your audience and look at who might be a good contact to have and who might be a good contact for maybe sharing. So like, if you tag them or even just send them a little DM and ask them to support you in some way. So that's a good way. Yeah. So like I was saying, visuals are great. And Orla will be talking about this a bit in a while as well. But it's a really good way to just inspire people. Other types of communication then would be, you've got your TV and radio, which might not be as easy to get onto, but local radio stations are great, especially for schools. So if anybody is keen to get their voice out there, it's a great platform to inform your wider community. Podcasts is a thing. Myself and Orla were talking about it earlier, and we were saying, anybody can start a podcast these days. So, like there's some really nice ideas. You could invite your local politicians on. You can invite teachers or your peers, Green Schools staff even. Or even different community members that might be kind of inspired by your initiatives as well. So podcasts are brilliant. I also already mentioned newspapers. Local newspapers are super supportive of school initiatives as well. So it'd be a great place to get your message out there. And I'll talk a bit about how to craft your message for local newspapers now. So I suppose when you're crafting your message, it's really important to identify kind of your key, sorry, I'm after losing it here. Yeah, your key message and what platform you're going to use. So like I was saying, which audience do you want and which platform can you reach them? So if you want to get action from parents to maybe change their habits, then maybe reach out to them in whatever way you feel is best. Same with your peers in school, maybe the school notice board or the intercom or whatever, you'll from doing your research and sitting down, like Sheila and Rashiba said yesterday, that's, once you've identified your message or identified your audience and found where that audience sits, it's easier then to kind of target them, I suppose. So you want to know, like, what impact has this campaign made and why is it important? So that's a really important message to get out there. So identifying the message you want to convey, and then focus on the most critical kind of aspects of the environmental campaign then. Emphasizing the benefits and solutions, so highlighting the benefits of your initiatives and I suppose giving solutions as well. So positive messaging is a great way to inspire hope and action. So if you notice, a lot of the charities, like the international development kind of charities, they would have moved away from negative messaging because people were getting tired of it and it wasn't inspiring that action that they hoped. So if you notice a lot more, well, maybe not at the moment actually with what's happening in Gaza, but because that's an urgent appeal, but other types of messaging that they'd use now would be a lot more positive because people kind of react and respond better to positive messaging. Persuasive language then, again, it's positive framing and calls to action. I'll talk about calls to action again in a while and how you can kind of, or the importance of them, I suppose. So like a call to action would be like, join us, or your voice matters, or together we will do this, or that kind of thing. It's inviting them to join you. And then appealing to emotions. So emotional aspect of communication. So create a connection. They create a connection, I suppose, with your audience. So sharing personal or class experiences relating to a campaign, which is kind of what I was saying earlier. So, you might have grown carrots at school and then bring them home and made carrot soup or something. And then that, people can relate to that and think, oh, I can do that too. So yeah, next slide, please. So I mentioned the local newspapers. So I don't know if any of you have written press releases before, and you might have done, but I suppose just a little tip. Actually, Orla, can you go to the next slide? I think it's, oh yeah, here we go. So like yesterday's workshop was saying, get your who, what, where, why, and how together. That's super important because that's what you want people to know. And this is called the inverted triangle, and it's just a really good visual. We'll send you these slides anyway, so you'll have this, but it's a really good way to look at how to create a press release for, or just a little news article for a local newspaper. So you want to tell the whole story in one kind of headline and then a short paragraph. Because when an editor is going over it to put it into the paper, he will cut it from the bottom. So the information that's at the bottom of your article will be the first to be cut if they need to make space for their newspaper. So it's really important to get your key information at the top of the your article. And to just make sure when the paper is going to be published, because then you know that you must send it well ahead of time. And yeah, that's oh.
Perfect. So I'm going on to talk about how you can use different multimedia tools to impact your campaign. So I suppose there's a number of ways that you can communicate through multimedia tools. Visuals are often very important. It is extremely important in catching the attention of your audience. So thinking about your audience, what they would like to see, and often using visuals that align with the campaign colors, font, graphics, etc., so that people can quickly identify that this post or this infographic is about your campaign. So it lets them know that the post is of interest to them, basically. So images, infographics, and videos can convey very complex information more effectively. So sometimes when people see big paragraphs, they're not willing to take the time to read it. Whereas if they see a small infographic and one of the facts catches their eye, they'll continue to read the rest. Impactful videos is a key way that schools can let the outside community know what they are doing within their school. So I suppose, like a lot of the time we do things in school and we let people know in our classes and our year groups, but the outside community are often very interested because that at the end of the day is the future of their community. Podcasts allow creators to get more in depth about their campaign and can accompany other multimedia posts very well. So let's say you do have infographics on your Instagram or your Facebook page, there are going to be people who have more interest in that topic, and then they could go on and listen to the podcast. So they will allow those with more interest to, I suppose, delve deeper into the subject matter. So often for our travel campaigns, we use Google My Maps to display like easily accessible, sustainable travel routes. And that is something that works very well within our travel schools. And I'm sure it works well with the other themes as well. So as I say, Google My Maps is it's a free platform, and you can mark out different routes, etc., on that, and let people know where things are easily accessible, where even things like where your closest centres are, community centres, etc. So this could be used, to identify areas of interest and display them clearly. Oh, we have an issue there with hearing. Has anyone else got an issue with hearing me or Siobhan? If you could put that into the group chat just to let us know. No, okay. It might be your connection there. I'm sorry about that now, but I don't think anyone else is having any issues. No. Okay. Thank you for the answers. Um, I'm just going to move on here quickly to the multimedia tools that we use here within Green Schools. So I suppose popular tools that are used for editing, etc. Kind of like Canva. So Canva is a free platform that can be used to make Instagram posts, Facebook posts, infographics, even things like calendars, and a lot more. The free version is fantastic. You can get a premium version, but there's so much there on the free version. And it's like easily navigated and allows for us to use, I suppose, our creative expression throughout our campaigns as well. I know myself, I love going onto Canva when I need to make a Facebook post, and it allows me, to really, hone into my creative expression, which I don't get to do in other parts of campaigning. Similarly, if you choose to use video, CapCut is excellent for editing. It allows you to add music and effects. Anchor is also an easily accessible tool that we would use to edit podcasts. But then I suppose if we want to go more old school, so like forms of multimedia that can be used for campaigning include, going into your local church and putting up a church bulletin, and simple actions such as getting your message into the local newspaper, into your school notes, can reach an audience that you would not reach with technological forms of campaigning. But I suppose whichever mode of multimedia tool you do choose to use, it is important that you tailor your content to your selected audience and ensure you keep the same campaign objectives throughout. So let's say if you're using maybe Instagram, the audience you have on there and the followers might know a lot more about climate change, whereas if you're using the church bulletin, maybe you have to go back to basics, or it can be the other way around as well. So Sheila and Rishaba would have gone over a lot of this yesterday in their webinar, but it's just to go over again, like tips for visual content is to keep it simple. If it's too messy, if there's too much going on, people don't tend to read it or engage with it. As I said, branding makes it easier for viewers to recognize that it's to do with a campaign that they're interested in. But I suppose using like definitely the branding, such as the Green Schools colors, your school probably has branding colors as well. You'll notice it on your school crest and things like that. And then you'll notice it in different places around your school. So maybe it's a good idea to include that, using the same font all of the time so that you can really develop that brand and stick with it. And I'm just going to go.
Sorry, Orla, we have Freya has her hand up. Or do you want to ask a question?
No, you can go ahead there, Freya.
Maybe it's a mistake.
That's okay. If you have a question, you can put it into the chat box again, and then we can go back to it, definitely. Okay, so going on to engaging your audience, which we have mentioned. Okay, that's okay. That's fine, Freya, thanks. It's easily done. So I suppose engaging your audience, looking at what at the very beginning of the campaign organization, it is important to select what type of audience you are targeting. This will tell you what kinds of tools, information, and platforms will be most impactful and useful. For instance, if you're looking to engage the older community, as we mentioned, Facebook is a great place to post, or like that, the church bulletins as well. You should also be looking at timing. So From my own experience, I know that if we are targeting students, we tend to post in the evening, because that's when most students be online after school. But if we're targeting school pages and teachers, we usually post about 2, 3 p.m. because that's the time that those types of pages check in with our social media. There are many methods of engaging people. Like if you're looking to raise money, you might ask them to donate or fundraise. If you're looking to inform people, you might use infographics or information leaflets. And if you're looking to collate information, you may use polls and surveys, which are all can be done, I suppose, in more technological ways or more old school ways. So going on there. So, here are a few ideas of how you can engage your audience. We love to use platforms like Kahoot, Mentimeter, or even Instagram to create polls and quizzes related to environmental issues or whatever campaign that you're working on. These can be used as well, especially within maybe workshops and things like that. Kahoot is great to engage your audience and to quiz back to see if people are engaging with the content that you've provided for them. It encourages participants to test their knowledge and share the results on social media. And sometimes we encourage people to create a hashtag so that people can easily locate information as well through that hashtag, especially if it's something that's not been used before. So I suppose there's one there, a virtual tour of your school's green initiatives with call to action. And going on, we have storytelling as well. I think storytelling is a great way to engage your peers and to engage those at home as well, like your grandparents. We were just saying that is, really built into Irish history storytelling. And, it goes a long way and it's so simple to go home and to tell the people around you, your brothers and sisters, your friends in other schools, what's happening with green schools. And, that can really encourage them and inspire them to engage then further. So I suppose, yeah, teasers and build up to events, things like that incentivize people to engage. So that could be prizes as well for campaigns, as I say, for competitions, even simple things like poster competitions within the school, and an incentive such as a prize or a night of homework and things can really, like it incentivizes people to engage with the campaign. But then when they see they enjoy it, they will further engage. Okay, I'll hand you over to Siobhan there.
I was enjoying that one. So what am I on now? Call to action. Okay. So like we were saying, I suppose the call to action is almost your most important part of your message, no matter what platform you're using, if it's in person, if you're going out into your community and talking to people, your call to action is kind of, I suppose it's the guide to like inspire the action for the community and how to get them involved. So where am I? Yeah, so there's 9, I suppose, reasons why it's really important. So it inspires immediate action. So a well-crafted call to action will kind of encourage your audience to take kind of immediate steps and like towards your initiative or your campaign goals. And it'll move your audience from just kind of passive listeners or readers to active participants who like, and it promotes this sense of responsibility with them as well, because they feel like they're part of your campaign. So it clarifies next steps for them. So it gives them clear guidance on what they should do next. So it can be to like share or implement new eco-friendly practices. It could be to organize a community event. So this, like a specific call to action, will clarify your next desired steps for your community. It strengthens engagement. So like we were saying earlier as well, engagement is absolutely key to the success of any campaign, no matter if it's an environmental campaign or a political campaign. Engagement is really, the key. So an excellent call to action will motivate your audience to engage with the campaign. Accountability, so it asks your audience to commit to specific actions. So it could be saying, join us and commit to reducing your litter by X amount in the next 30 days, that kind of thing. So it holds them accountable to that. And then it encourages long-term engagement as well with the campaign. A good call to action would help build a community of like-minded individuals committed to like a common goal. It generates momentum, so it'll encourage immediate action through the call to action, sorry. And it'll create momentum for the campaign because there'll be more people engaging with it as well. It can also empower individuals. So it'll show them that like an individual, they're one of a wider campaign. So their individual actions will contribute to a larger movement overall. And it reinforces the idea that everyone has the ability to make a difference, especially in terms of environmental conservation and sustainability as well. And then awareness. So call to actions would often involve sharing information. So asking them to share or asking them to, like we were saying, just take some action that relates back. So this will help to amplify your message as well, and the reach and influence of your campaign among the wider community. And it's a catalyst for change. So it ensures that you're a call to action. It kind of solidifies your initiative as a catalyst for change because it aligns your campaign with real world application. So, if you're making the information actionable for your audience, so there's something for them to take from your information and go out into their community and take action, if that makes sense. So I suppose in summary, a call to action motivates your audience to go beyond passive consumption, and it actively contribute to the success of your Green Schools initiative as well. So examples of call to actions, there's just like, together we can. You've seen these all before with different charities, mainly charities, like join us, or with your support, we can, change the world, or you can be the change. It's about getting them to take responsibility and join your campaign, really. So just a few tips to leave you guys on. So keep it positive, like we were saying. Positivity kind of like does inspire people to get involved and to kind of want to know more as well. Be creative, like Orla was saying. Canva can be a lot of fun, and video editing can be a lot of fun as well. So play around with those different tools. Like CapCut has amazing templates, and there's lots of TikTok videos that show you how to make really cool CapCut edits. So check those out as well, and have fun with it, because I suppose like this campaigning and communications is a huge part of environmental sustainability, because you need to get the message out there, you need to share it without being preachy, and it's about kind of bringing people on board. So the best way to do that is through like positive and creative messaging. So share your campaign on social media. Again, which platform? It depends who you're targeting. School newsletters, local papers, local news board or notice boards are all super effective as well. Engage actively, so make sure you answer people's questions. If someone comments on something on social media, or if you're out in the community, it's always good to like engage with your audience, and keep like thanking them. So if a local business donates, I don't know, trees for you guys to plant in your school, make sure you give them a shout out on social media as well, and tag them, and that all generates kind of a wider reach of your campaign as well. And yeah, social media is about sharing and engagement, so don't just shout into a void. Try and make it a conversation, and that's what like good and effective communications is. It's like, it's a conversation, and it's bringing people with you instead of leaving people behind. Like Orla was saying as well, time your engagement and posts. So when are people most social? And then something super important, especially if you're working with children, is always seek photo consent. People can be kind of funny when it comes to using their images, so make sure you get consent before you put up a photo of somebody. Generally, everybody is happy enough, but just, yeah, it's always good to ask. So I think that's us.
Yeah, that's everything. So I suppose if you have any questions, don't be afraid to put up your hand now or put them in the chat box. But if not, thank you for coming. We hope you enjoyed, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, guys. You're welcome, Susie. Oh, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. I think we have a question there, as in how do you reach out to the wider community? So this can be done in various different ways. I suppose it depends who you're targeting. I've found a good way with different programs that I've worked on that when I am looking for sponsorship and things like that, that a lot of the time I find a business or a company and they're willing to campaign for me as well. They're willing to have information leaflets in their shop or in their cafe as well, because they will only sponsor you if it's something that they have genuine interest in, and that there seems to spread out to the wider community. And just mentioning to them that if you could mention it to your family, your friends, and that's like in smaller villages and things like that, it tends to work very well, um as well as the local papers, I think, and the church bulletins are a great way that people tend to get community news. I know in at home we have community Facebook groups as well, so they're great to post in if you can join them, because then it's not getting lost within a load of different posts on Facebook. People will go there to find out information about their community, so it's great to post in those as well. Um, yeah, we can send on the slideshow as well, and the video should be, I think it is going to be available to watch again as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.